Next, I would like to introduce producer Peter Conti. Peter, I understand you are both a writer and a producer. Please give us a little bit of your background. Are you there, Peter?
Hello, everyone. How you doing?
Great.
I've been in the business a long time. I started in theater in L.A., did some shows there. Joe Pesci produced them, and they did pretty well. And then I got into more screenwriting. As a matter of fact, I was in Vegas in '95. I was Nick Pileggi's assistant on the Casino film, so I was there about 6 months. And did some legit TV, and I've rolled into reality right now, producing reality TV.
Okay.
Not really any writing on it, but putting together the scenes, and that's kind of where I'm at now.
And how did you come to meet Bobby?
I knew Bobby from middle school, and he was like the coolest kid in our middle school, and he looked like he was like 30 years old when the rest of us looked like we were 13.
Did he get in a lot of trouble? That's what I want to know.
No, he was actually a very good student. He was a very good student. He dressed like he was in Saturday Night Fever. He wore like silk shirts and
I want pictures.
He had the Guido hair, going back. It was about 4 inches high, the hair, if I remember. Yeah, his hair was taller than most of the students in the school.
Wow.
And,
Do you have photos of that?
He was, he didn't really get in any fights, but everybody was afraid of him. So I mean,
He looked menacing, even if he wasn't, huh?
He was very menacing out of me. Yeah, exactly. And he used to kick lockers over his head and stuff like that. So I buddied up to him because at the time I was about 5'2", 100 pounds.
No,
so I said, "Let me."
Because you have a brain, you don't want to get beat up. No, God, I don't want to kill
you. Whose interview is this? Can someone mute his mic, please?
That's okay, Peter. We knew this would happen.
I won't get a word in edgewise. So we seriously, Bobby, myself, and my friend Eddie Latessa, we were inseparable for like 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, and then I never saw him again. And then about 4 years ago, I was writing a story of Vinny Pazienza, 5-time world champion boxer. And Vinny's from Rhode Island, so I was commuting back and forth, L.A., New York, Rhode Island. And I said, the few years I spent in Rhode Island as a kid, toughest guy I knew was a guy named Bobby Vigeant. And Vinny Paz said, "That's my cousin." And I said, "Get out of here." He goes, "That's my cousin." I go, like a fake Italian cousin, because Italians always say their cousins,
right,
or a legit cousin. He goes, "That's my first cousin." So we called him up, and he remembered me. We met. He was bouncing at a club at the time, and he was just starting his film with Ken Beaver in D.C., and he didn't know that I was in the industry or anything. I went by a club, he was bouncing, and we embraced. I hadn't seen him in 20 years, 25 years. And I happened to be doing a show called Big Shots about these guys in Rhode Island who think they're big shots.
Uh-huh.
So I just thought Bobby would be hilarious, which he was. He was great. I ended up stepping out of the project, but Bobby was really good. Then I started another project called Big Dough, which I'm working on now, and there was really nothing for Bobby, but he has a friend that he's kind of taken under his wing, this kid, Nicky DeQuattro. Nicky DeQuattro. He's a lot younger than Bobby. And I said, "Oh, too bad Nicky's not in L.A. because I'm doing this show with Lenny Montana, who's Luca Brasi and The Godfather's son. We're doing a show, and Nicky would be great." And Bobby, and this is what I love about Bobby, and I'm not saying this because, the show's about him, but he was very selfless, and he linked up Nicky with me because we needed like a young Guido kid, and not thinking about himself at all. But I wrote him in a little part, like a couple lines, just to get Bobby involved. And the star of the show, Lenny Montana, liked him so much, we wrote in some more stuff for him as like a trainer for Lenny. Lenny's obese, and so I think it shows sometimes you do something for someone else and it works out.
That's great.
For him, yeah. So,
now,
and it's been a wonderful experience. And considering Bobby's so new in the business, it's amazing how good he is.
Well, I understand, Peter, this is it's a new television show. It's based in Hollywood, and it was purchased by Relativity Media, and it's going to be on the Food Network in the fall of 2012.
Well, the Food Network is the ones who's made the best deal, and I voted, I'm one of 5 producers on the show, that we should just get it going right now. But they haven't, signed the deal with the Food Network yet. Relativity, as you know, is a huge company, and they want to guarantee 10 shows, which they haven't signed up for yet.
Okay.
So right now we've been doing some shooting and waiting, but Relativity, I think we're in good hands. Very good hands.
Well, we'll be looking for that. Also, what's very impressive is the fact that you're currently a professor at Columbia University.
Yeah, Columbia and CUNY. I'm an adjunct at Columbia. I got my PhD at Columbia, and I also teach at CUNY at our city university in New York.
And what do you teach there?
I teach writing. I teach writing. I got my PhD in
That makes
critical
sense.
literacy.
Well, we'll have to have you back on my show, Aspects of Writing.
Yeah, I'd love to do it.
All right.
But Bobby, I really think you hooked into something with Bobby because he was, I swear to God, he was like a star in middle school. He didn't look like any of us. He walked around. He had that Travolta strut at 13, and, I think he's really got something. And he was great in Ken Beaver's film. I saw that. And
Yes,
I know now he's working with another Rhode Island guy, Glenn Ciano. And Glenn and I have worked together, and I think Glenn's a talented guy. So I think they should do some good stuff together.
Are there any other projects coming up down the road that you have Bobby in mind for a part?
Well, I wrote a film for T.I., the rapper, who's also an actor. They hired me to write it. Called Sway. I wrote it with Chris Grant. He's a pretty big novelist, and I'd love Bobby to be in it. There's a few parts that I definitely could see him playing.
Okay.
But once I sold the script, it's out of my hands. Except all I can do is give a list to the director, and and then they do it from there. But there's definitely some parts in there that Bobby would be great for.
Well, I'll tell you something. I'm from the Northeast. I bet you couldn't tell by my accent, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
So I appreciate you guys. Let me tell you. One quick question I have for you. You mentioned you were a boxer?
No, I wrote. Vinny Pazienza was a 5-time world champion boxer. The reason why they hired me to write the film is a month after he won the welterweight world championship, he broke his neck, and they said he'd never be able to walk again. Not only did he walk again, but 2 years later, he won the world championship.
Wow.
So,
that's a great story.
And he's Vinny's cousin, so it's such a small world. I hadn't, seen or heard from Bobby Vigeant in 20 years, and just came up with Vinny Pazienza, and the first cousins, and Vinny linked us together.
Obviously meant to be.
And that's a fight I would like to see now. The 250-year-olds in the ring.
You guys are fun.
I will want Vinny's only career loss to be to his cousin, so we'll leave that alone.
That's funny. All right, well, thanks for having me
All
on,
right,
guys.
Peter,
You're the
thank
best.
you so
Thank you,
much.
Peter.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye-bye.